Magic, sheer magic pulsing through every note of this record. Number 12 on my fancy playlist, the Joe Boxers Just Got Lucky. Sounds like an all-American group, got that soulful, I wouldn't say Motown soul, maybe more of that northern soul, meeting British techno pop and coming together in one scintillating single. One of the most scintillating singles of the 80s. It was not a hit. You're watching this video in England and you're saying, wait a minute, dude, this song was a hit over here. Well, yes, it was a hit in England. Went to number 7, I believe, in Britain. If you're watching this video in the Philippines, you're saying, if you go back, way back in the day, you're probably saying, well, wait a minute, this song was in a teen hit movie or something like that over here in the Philippines. It was popular here in the Philippines, but it was not a hit, probably where it counted, in the U.S. I'll go into that in just a minute. I'll just be a sad sop in just a few minutes, but right now, this was one joyful record. The organ, oh gosh, I don't know, the synthesizer or whatever was played on this record. Joe Boxers Just Got Lucky. Let's go into the history, just a broad brush history of this record. Now, when I researched this record a little bit, I didn't realize these guys, they were not flash in the pan. They played, they were professional musicians when they got together, became the Joe Boxers. Dig Wayne, frontman Dig Wayne from Ohio. I guess he migrated to New York City because he became a frontman of a band, a rockabilly band with a punk edge. It Buzz and the Flyers. And they were part of the rockabilly scene in New York City. Dig Wayne, he was throwing down. Time to get down. That rockabilly band, love it. Stray Cats. They were starting to gin up during this era in New York City. Stray Cats opened for Buzz and the Flyers at a show at the iconic. It was called Max's Kansas City. I believe that was the name of the place. Let me make sure I got it right. I want to make sure I get these things right. I believe it was called Max's Kansas City. Iconic nightclub, restaurant in New York City. Opened in 1965, closed down in the 80s. If I got my research right, lots of poets, lots of rock and roll people appeared at Max's Kansas City. If you read about the history, in-depth history of rock and roll, more than likely you'll probably come across Max's Kansas City. Not as well known as the Troubadour in Los Angeles or Whiskey A Go-Go, but boy, I tell you, when I read about rock stars from the past or whatever, I keep coming across Max's Kansas City. Kansas City, here I come. But it's in New York City. Well, Stray Cats open for Buzz and the Flyers. Great band. Now, let's get to the British component of this band. The British guys, 4 British guys in this band, the Joe Boxers, Chris Bostock, Sean McCluskey, and Rob Marsh, Dave Collard. They were in a band called Subway Sect. Subway Sect, they were a jazz band. They backed up a punk guy, a punk icon. Never heard of him, but not that well. Punk never took off here in America in the late 70s like it did in England. Punk really didn't happen here in the States until, well, I guess the 1990s when Green Day, they came out and they did it good, boy. They punked out really good. But Vic Gardner, not as well known here in the States as he is in England. Make a long story short, the group members of Subway Sect, jazzy outfit, sort of a jazz band, and Vic Gardner, they drifted apart, and Subway Sect, eventually, they were looking for somebody else to join the band, a new member of the band. So the members of Subway Sect, the guys in Subway Sect, they caught a show in London done by Buzz and the Flyers, Dig Wayne's group. They did some shows in England, Buzz and the Flyers. And Subway Sect, they were watching these guys up on stage, Dig Wayne and company, and they said, man, these guys, they are professional. These guys, they got their game on. And group members of Subway Sect, they approached their manager. His name was Bernard Rhodes. Bernard Rhodes was no small beans, not known to the general public, but behind the scenes. If I got it right, he was manager of the Specials, member of the Specials, Clash, Dexy's Midnight Runners, The group members of Subway Sect, they persuaded Bernard Rhodes to go to New York City. Please go to New York. Talk to this guy, Dig Wayne. Let's get this guy over here. Bernard Rhodes goes to New York City. He meets up with Dig Wayne and eventually persuades him to come to England. Wins him over. Dig Wayne, he goes to England. He teams up with Subway Sect, and boy, the chemistry is just humming. There's thrumming. There's something there. Boy, it's great when you're in a band, particularly when you're songwriting, you're writing melodies, and you're singing, you're rehearsing, and that chemistry is there. It's so important. A lot can be said for chemistry. And they called themselves the Joe Boxers. First hit in England. It happened in England first. It always does. With these British bands, of course. Got to make it in your homeland. The home team's got to show you some love. Joe Boxer's first hit in England, Boxer Beat. A party song. I hear a little bit of the late 60s in that song. Songs like Nobody But Me by the Human Beings and Na Na Na, Kiss 'Em Goodbye by Steam, 68, 69. I hear elements of that in that song, Boxer Beat. I listened to the song for the first time. It wasn't a hit over here. It was a hit in England. Listen to the song for the first time on YouTube. Reminds me a little bit of the Jay Giles band too. Boxer Beat went to #3 in England. Held out the #1 spot in England by Let's Dance by David Bowie, and Is There Something I Should Know by Duran Duran. But that's elite company right there. Not bad for a band that's starting out. And two of the group members, Dig Wayne and Chris Bostock, Joe Boxers, apparently they shared the same apartment, same flat together. They wrote Just Got Lucky there. Top 10 in England. Gosh, dog it. It's sad. This is a travesty. Only got as high as number 36 or 37 here in the States. And you're like, what the devil is that? This song is this is a hit. It went right through the cracks here in the States. But not on my fantasy playlist. That's why I call it a fantasy playlist. I'd put these songs higher on my fantasy playlist than they did on Billboard's Hot 100. And boy, I believed in this record. I knew it. Damn. And I knew it. I'm sure you knew it too. Joe Boxers Just Got Lucky at number 12 on my fantasy playlist, November 20th, 1983.